How's it going? Dave from Comic Book Investments. So in this video, we're going to look at 5 keys that are dropping in price, going down quite a bit. I think the biggest one was 83%. Plus, I saw something on here I've never really seen before. I mean, I have, but I don't think I've ever really talked about it before. So that's going to be an interesting one. And again, all of these on here, I usually go through all the comments and it's from you guys. So if there's a book you want me to check out and give my analysis on, things like that, leave it in the comments below and I'll try to get to them. A lot of times, I look at it and it's not really going up or it's not really going down or vice versa. And so there's nothing I can really talk about it. But if it fits one of these going up or going down videos, I will try to put it in the video. But I can't get to everyone. But again, if you want something, comment down below. But yeah, also another thing to note is we are running our 7th auction. So if there's anything you want to consign to our auction, we have about a week and a half left, and then the deadline will be met. It's over at collectorscomics.com. If there's anything you want to consign, we accept any third graded book by CGC, CBCS, PGX, things like that. And it's 0% fees, so you get 100%. A lot of times people ask me, a couple questions they'll ask me is like, do you accept raw ungraded books? Yes, we do, but they must have a fair market value of at least $100 raw ungraded. If they do not, then I will combine them with other books you send. So if you send me like a pile of like 10 books and they're all worth around $5, $10, $25 or something like that, they'll become combined into a single lot. If there's ones that fit better, I try to break them up the best I can. So if you send me like 5 Fantastic Four and 5 Spider-Mans, those will be put into 2 separate lots, all Fantastic Four, all Spider-Man. The grading is done by me, so you can write whatever grade you want on there, but I grade it, check for restoration, all that kind of stuff. So we do accept raw ungraded books, but there is a little asterisk to that. Another question I get is sometimes like, do you really get 100% of it as the consigner? Yes, you do. Some people ask like, well, what about payment processing fees? Like 3% PayPal and credit card fees and stuff like that. It's actually 3.5%. That we go to the buyer. If the buyer decides that they're going to pay via credit card, PayPal, whatever, that kind of stuff, then we charge them the 3.5%. So you as the consigner don't have to worry. You still get 100% of whatever it ends for in auction. You get 100% of that. There's also ways to waive that 3% fee if you're the buyer. You can send us a check. You can do friends and family through PayPal. You can do Venmo, Zelle, a bunch of different options, Wire if you want to, things like that. All auctions start at $1. So it's $1 and it goes for whatever it goes for. That's kind of how auctions work. And yeah, so if you want to know more, head over to collectorscomics.com, fill out the little form if you want to send us anything. Again, about a week and a half. Okay, let's get right into the video. Okay, first up is someone asked me to do this is Witchblade number 1. A 9.4 is down 57% from $81 to $35. A 9.6 is down 26% from $155 to $115. And a 9.8 is down 33% from $240 to $160. Now, this is not her first appearance, but this was very interesting to me because it's Witchblade 1. I believe it went to like 200 and something issues, which is pretty good. Like if you can get a comic that high, that many issues, like that's very big success. It looked like it peaked way back around 2007 to 2009. I know they did there's like a TV show, an anime, some stuff going on back then. But then it just kind of was flat hovering around $100. Obviously the comic boom kind of brought up a little bit where it peaked in, 2022 for $240. But the interesting thing about this is if you just look at its history, other than a peak back in like 2007, 2008, and then a couple spikes here and there during like 2021, 2022, it's pretty much been flat like throughout its history. This book came out in the 90s before CGC, but that's a very interesting thing to me. So it's easy to predict this book. So if you want to know, is this like a big long-term investment? I'll say, let's look at its history. If you look at its history, it's been trending for like $100 other than a couple spikes here and there for pretty much forever. I mean, the most recent sale was $160. Now, just because it's trending around $100 doesn't mean there's some that sell for like $85 and there's some sell for like $150. It just bounces up because that's just the nature of the way things work. So some get them cheap, some pay a little over, but the fair market value is always just like somewhere in the middle. And so it's been trending that way for decades. So you can bet that it's going to trend that way for decades longer. It needs, in order to be something more than what it's been trending at for decades, it needs a lot more going for it. So it needs something, you have to bring in new fans. New fans where they're like, I love X character, so I'm going to buy X character's first book, key book, whatever it is. So, and the only way to do that is you have to go to a broader market. So you need, that's why like movies, TV shows, and other things like that work. So far, just the comic community alone is saying that, hey, we only value this book at like, between fair market value around 100, 150, somewhere around there. And it'll stay that way unless something else happens. It can also go down because eventually maybe this book falls out of fashion with the comic community and then it just kind of whittles away. So you need something. Maybe a movie or something to bring in some new collectors into Witchblade #1, but that's where it's going to sit. It is not a long-term. I would not say this is like a long-term investment. I would say it's a steady investment. So if you like the book and you buy it and you have it for 10 years, you can probably bet that it's going to be worth right around the same as what you paid for as long as you didn't overpay to begin with. Next, we got Doctor Strange #1. A 9.4 is down 51% from 588 to 285. A 9.6 is down 55% from 1295 to 585. And a 9.8 is down 51% from 3800 to 1866. So as you can see here, it's going along. Comic boom happens. Straight to the moon. It's coming back down. It seems to still be dropping. So I would imagine, especially got extra hype because of the movie, Doctor Strange 2. I would expect this book to still keep dropping. All right, next we got XMen 133. This is the first solo Wolverine. A 9.2 is down 51% from 400 to 233. A 9.4 is down 55% from 499 to 230. And a 9.6 is down 51% from 800 to 310. Yes, the 9.4 and the 9.2 did just recently sell for the exact same price. But it still looks like it's dropping. Obviously got a huge boost from the comic boom. I want to see what this 9.6 was selling for before. Probably around like the 150, 180 mark. So it still definitely has room to drop. I don't know how much more it's going to drop. It might be hitting its like leveling out period because a 9.8 did sell pretty high. I think, if I can remember correctly, like a record or close to an all-time record recently. So, but that is a 9.8. Those books are a little more rare, and if you get the right two people bidding on at the same time or had it up for a bite now and you get the right person that wants to pay that price because there's not that many available, you can command a lot more. So the 9.8 is going up, but overall, I would say every other grade is going down. So next we got is Daredevil 131, first appearance of Bullseye. A 9.2 is down 46% from 919 to 500. A 9.4 is down 57% from 1350 to 578. And a 9.6 is down 66% from 2300 to 792. So yeah, this book has been dropping. You can just look at that graph, and it's almost back to where it was pre-comic boom. I know the 9.8 had a sale that I couldn't really verify, but it was like, I think like an all-time record, but I couldn't verify. I was like, I don't know. It seems way out of place of the other 9.8s. So I was like, a little suspect there. But needless to say, this book obviously went quite high during the comic boom and it's been dropping. All right, last on the list is Marvel Premiere #1. This one's interesting. A 9.0 is down 70% from almost 2,100, now selling for 625. A 9.4 is down 68% from 3,000 to 960. And a 9.6 is down 83%. Yes, I verified this sale. This is ridiculous. So you can look at that graph and you can look at the top corner and just going along and just a massive straight spike up. But this was at like mid 2022. So after the comic boom pretty much happened, sold for 7,800. Now one's recently sold for 1,320, down 83%. I looked at that graph and I was like, okay, obviously this sale must be just fake or something, like not legit. So stupid because this was after the comic boom. So the comic boom happened really around like April, May, June, maybe in July of 2021. That's where the biggest jumps were. Comics just shot up like this, and then they slowly started going down. So this was like second, end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter of 2022. So the boom already happened for this like a year prior, and it sold for 7,800. And I was like, okay, this has to be like some bogus sale. Looked it up. Nope, straight up from Heritage. You can see here, yep, straight from Heritage on April 9th. And I'm like, oh my God, for a 9.6. Now, obviously, Adam Warlock was going to be in the Guardians movie, which he was in the Guardians movie, and I don't think people received him very well. So people were like, yeah. That would cause the going down. But if the crazy thing is, if you look at the sale right before this 7,800, this is not in the highest grade. There's a 9.8. The 9.8 has dropped pretty much exactly in half. I think it went for, I want to say 9,000 recently in April, and the sale before that was like a year or two prior for like, I think like 15 or 16 or something, or maybe it's 18,000, something like that. It was like around like 40, 50% drop. But there's not that many sales of it. It's quite rare in a 9.8. But this one, a 9.6, it's like the sale right before the 7,800, 2,500. So that was the end of 2021. There's one for 2,500. And then the next sale, like 5 or 6 months later, 7,800. And yeah, now it's selling for 13.20, which seems to be probably around where it was before the comic boom. But I'm just thinking like, okay, so the last sale sells for 2,500. How much do you want to bid? I want to bid $8,000, so I guarantee to win it, and sells, goes for 7,800 because two people were bidding around $8,000 for it. And it's just crazy to me. I'm like, where do you like? The last one sold for 2,500. You're gonna bid 3x multiples just to get it. People probably thought it was going to be some huge book. It's not even really the first appearance of Adam Warlock. So, and you could say FF67 is first appearance, but he's in like the Cocoon. Well, and then you could say the cameo of FF66. But then there's like Thor 165 and 166 or better appearances. And I'm not sure if he's appeared in between then. I'm sure he has. But I don't know. It's a cool cover. I'll give you that. But pretty dumb to spend that much. So obviously it's a legit sale through Heritage. Two people bid it up. All I can say is to learn from this experience and just don't overpay for books. Have a great day.